Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. You know how this works. We're going to be taking a look at something in depth. And today's topic is going to be pretty interesting. It's something you don't hear every day. It's the anthem of the East African community.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're going to be taking a look at the history of this anthem and kind of what it represents and the significance of it and all that good stuff. But before we jump into that, I just want to put this out there, that it took a whole decade to find an anthem that the East African community could agree on.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we get into all the specifics of the anthem, think about what kind of values or aspirations do you think a group of nations would want to express in their anthem?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So the anthem is called Wimbo wa Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, and it wasn't adopted until 2010.
Okay.
And it's sung in Kiswahili,
Oh, wow.
which, as you probably know, is kind of considered like the lingua franca of the East African community.
Yeah, definitely. And
Well-
I feel like choosing Kiswahili, that's a big decision right there. Like, that says something.
It really does. I mean, especially considering that the EAC was actually revived back in 1999.
Right.
After a period of like political turmoil, and they were separate for a while.
Yeah.
So choosing this language that's spoken across the whole region,
Yeah.
it really does show like a commitment to starting fresh.
Right. So it's like symbolic of unity as well.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when we look at the anthem itself, like, what are some of the major themes we can find in there?
Okay, so there are 4 main themes that I noticed.
Okay.
Unity, patriotism, hard work, and peace.
Okay.
Unity's a big one.
Yeah, especially given their history.
Exactly. Like, it really encourages this idea of like
Right.
working together and building something as a community.
Right. So it's not just about like being a single entity, but like actually working towards something together.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, cool. And then you said patriotism was another one.
Being dedicated to your nation and to the region.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, I guess. But
Yeah.
when you think about it, like, the East African community has so many different ethnicities and histories.
Absolutely.
So how does an anthem really promote patriotism when there's so much like
That's a great question.
diversity?
I think what they do really well in the anthem is focus on that shared East African identity,
Okay.
you know, and emphasize the things that unite them rather than divide them.
Right, finding common ground.
Exactly.
So it's like belonging to something bigger than just your individual nation.
Yeah.
And what about the hard work and peace you were talking about?
Right. So they really encourage people to be diligent, work hard for the community.
Okay.
And I think this emphasis on hard work really reflects the focus on economic development,
Right.
you know, and prosperity for the whole region.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then, of course, the peace. There's actually a section where they directly ask God for protection and peace.
Which, after all those conflicts and stuff, is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Like, they're setting an intention.
Definitely. Yeah. It's almost like a collective aspiration.
Totally.
Yeah.
So where would somebody actually hear this anthem?
You'd hear it at like all the big political events,
Yeah.
like summits and council meetings.
Sure.
But it's not just limited to that, you know. They play it at like regional celebrations,
Oh, yeah?
national occasions within the different countries.
Right.
Pretty much anything where they want to emphasize that shared identity.
You know, it's funny you mention that because I remember when I was visiting Tanzania a few years ago, I was at a football match.
Oh, wow.
And they played the Tanzanian national anthem before the match started. And it was interesting how much it made me think about, you know, that sense of shared identity that music can evoke.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It really is.
And in this case, with the East African Community's anthem, it's almost like a reminder of their journey towards unity and their hopes for the future.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So just to recap, we've got an anthem that took a decade to create. It's sung in Kiswahili, the shared language of the community. And it's promoting unity, patriotism, hard work, peace. It's not just a song, it's a statement.
It makes you think, how does this compare to other anthems? You know?
That's a good question.
What are the similarities and differences, and what does that tell us about the values each anthem wants to inspire?
That's a great question to think about. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but before you go, do yourself a favor. Look up Wimbo wa Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki. Give it a listen, see what you think. Until next time, keep exploring.